In this video, we discuss about command line arguments. That is, we call it as short form as CLA in Java. As it is saying, the name has specifying as a command line argument, command line. So this is the place where we are at the place of command. This is a place where we are going to run our program. So I'm writing the command for running the program. So at this time, when we are running the Java program at the command prompt, if I want to pass any value, if I want to pass any values at the time of running the program from the command, then it is called as CLA, command line, because at the command line we are passing the values and those values we are calling it as arguments, and these arguments are received by the main method. It is received by the main method as a arguments list, or we can call it as parameter list. Okay, so this concept we are going to learn in this video. That is, a command line argument is passed at run time, at the time of running the program, and it is received by the main method as the input, and we can pass n number of values from the command prompt. So these statements what I have discussed in the first slide, that I'm going to explain with a simple example. Before going to this example, let me explain what is that command line argument and how it is used. So let me take one example. We are going to write, say we have a class and we have written a sample CLA is a class name. So class name here it should be, if I have two words, then it should be separated with an underscore. No hyphen or other separators cannot be used. So open the block, and this is a main method. So I'm going to write public static void and main. Here I'm going to write the string arguments. So arg. So you can write that arg or args because it is a identifier, array name, and string is a class name. S should be of capital letter, and this is called as CLA, command line argument. And this command line argument is passing the values, so it is receiving the values at the runtime. So now I will write two programs to differentiate which is meant for the command line argument and which is not, which is using the command line argument, and which is the program which is not showing any command line argument in it. So I write the first example without a command line argument. So now previous example as we have taken that, here I am declaring some variables. Okay, and I am writing a statement that is system.out.println, and in this I am writing an expression, a comment I am going to write, and along with this comment, up to here I want to write a comment. Along with this comment, I want to evaluate the expression too. Okay, this is how I have written a program. So how do I know that it is a program with CLA or it is a program without CLA? Because as I'm not using the array name args in my program, then this program is without CLA. This program is without CLA because I am not using any args as a word in my program. I'm not using args in my program. So until unless I refer that arg or whatever the array name I have written here, that array name if I'm not mentioning in my code, then if it is not mentioned, then it is a without CLA. So how can I convert this program into with CLA? With CLA. So you know that each program need input and output statements. So input is mandatory for each and every program to do some operation. Okay, so the input is given in the code itself. The inputs are given in the program itself. Okay, so suppose at I want to pass the values. Here the values are stored at the compile time itself. But I want to give a random values depending upon the user choice at the time of running the program. Then this code will not be valid. So because it is holding the values within the program, but my specification is that these values has to be given at the command line. That command line is nothing but we call it as at the runtime. I want to pass the values at runtime. So in order to do this type of programming, then we are going to use a program with CLA. We have to use a program with CLA. So how I'm going to use a CLA in the program? So before going to this program, I want to give a basic example. Then I will go to the actual programming part. So here, how can I write a class? First of all, we do write a class name. So I write as a CLA underscore example. Okay. And next I'm writing public static void main string arguments. Just I'm giving a here. Okay. Open the block and close the block. Here I'm going to write the code. Suppose I want to pass, now I want to write this program has a command line argument. So this should be activated. The meaning is that how can I use that array name? This array is going to be mentioned. This array receives the values at running of the program. This is Java C is a compilation. At the compilation, we just compile our program, but at the runtime, that is this is the Java is a runtime, this is runtime, this is compile time. At this moment, along with the class name, we have to put dot extension Java, file name dot Java, and here at the running of the program, CLA underscore example, and just I write the command. Along with this command, I'm going to pass the values. I'm going to pass the values. Okay, these values, how many values do I need to pass here? That is up to you. So depending upon your choice, you can pass the values, because here array size is not mentioned to any specific size here. There is no specific size mentioned here. So you can pass n number of values. And remember, whenever we are passing any values, that is going to be stored in the A as an array, and that is in the type of string. So let me take an example of a string type. Later I'll go for the integer. Now I'm going to write something called as hello is a word I want to pass. So this word is going to be received by the A. So internally what happens, an array is going to be created, A, and how many words did you, how many parameters did you pass here? Depending upon that parameter, I have passed only one parameter. So here memory allocation dynamically it is going to be adjusted with that number of values what you have passed at the runtime. And now here a of 0, now it is going to be stored as hello. So in this is received this command line argument. This is called as command line argument, and this argument is passed at the command line. This is called as the command line. At the running of the program, it is received by the A array, and it is how many values memories it is going to be allocated? Only one value, so only one memory location. Okay, and this is of which type? String type. And data is also what you have passed, the parameter is also a string type. Okay, so now I want to print now. So it is received by the from externally, it is sending a value, it is receiving a value at the command from the command prompt, and it is received by an array called as A. So my data is there in the A. So what I need in my program, then I got an input. Now I am supposed to print that output. This input what I have received, I want to print it on the screen, on the monitor. I want to print it. So now what I'm going to use, that is, in order to print on the screen, we are supposed to use, that is, system.out.println. What I want to print? I want to print this hello. Where is my hello? That is there in A of 0. So that is my array, A of 0. This is an array, square brackets. Okay. So this is how we are going to print the statement. And if I want to write along with the comment, suppose, then you are going to write, you can also write comment and the value system.out.println. You can write this is first args arguments, first argument, that is what the comment I have written, plus that is A of 0. So what is there in A of 0? Hello. So what is my output shown on the screen? The first output will be only a hello, and second output will be, that is first arg, yes, hello. So this is how we are going to write the command line arguments with simple example, that is a string has an example. Okay, hope it is clear up to here. If you understand this, a single value which is received by the command line argument, then it is going to be displayed in this fashion. That is because it is storing that this hello is going to be stored in A of 0, and A of 0 memory is allocated like this, and I want to input it. We have received the input, and this I want to show on the screen. Then I'm going to use system.out.println for displaying on the screen. So either you can write directly the value, or you can write first a message or a text, then you can print the value what you want to print it on the screen. So this is a two different ways of the printing the message on the screen. Okay, so now how can we differentiate an example now? This is how can you say that this program is with or without the parameter list, and that is sorry, with the command line arguments and without the command line arguments. So you can see that we are not using a word called as args anywhere in my program. So we can understand that we are not using command line arguments. So when you are not using command line argument at running time, at running of the program, that is Java, what is the program name here? The program name is sample underscore CLA. Sample underscore CLA. So you need not to pass any values here. No values. No values, because you're not ready to receive, because you're not using that ARG, or you're not what is that, printing any value which is stored. So when you're not printing the value which is stored in ARGS, then no need to pass any values here. So that is how, if you pass a value, it will be stored, but you are not utilizing in a program. That is also one of the important note. If you pass a value, suppose, and I did not use ARGS here, so no action will be performed. Just it will be storing the input in ARG. That's it. But it is not going to be used in this. Okay. So that is how the command line arguments are going to be. Yes. So here there is no need to pass any command line arguments because I'm not using that ARGS here. So coming to this program here, because I'm using the array name, A, and here also I'm specifying this. So the meaning is that I'm accessing this array here in my code, so you are supposed to pass. So it is expecting the, when it is, we need to print the value, so it needs to pass a value first of all. When we need an output, these are all output statements. When this is an output statement, so compulsory we need to give some input to the ARG. That is A here. You can write ARG, A, or anything you can write. Okay, so you can write any array name. So that is how this simple example for the CLA. Next, moving to the first, this is the example that if it is a string format and it is, because it is a string array, it is able to store a string data type. Suppose I want to pass integer values. I am passing the integer values. So while I'm passing an integer values, I want to convert, because it is receiving in a string format, because it is storing in a string format, and that string format cannot do an arithmetic type of operations. So at this type, then what I am supposed to do in my program, that is, now you are going to, suppose I have at the runtime, first let me explain from the runtime, that is at running the program. This is at running the program Java, and my program name is B. Okay, at running the program, I'm passing. So how many arguments you are using here? You can specify that 0 and 1. The meaning is that it is expecting two values. So I'm passing the two values, 20, 30, I'm passing the values. Okay, when I'm passing these values are received by the command line. These values are received by the command line arguments. So that is ARGS. So internally my ARGS is going to store how many values? Two values, because you are passing how many values at the runtime? Two values. Okay, so automatically the size will be defined. And now this will be in a form of a string type. This data is in the form of a string type. Okay, if suppose it is a string type, and if I want to display, and if I want to do 50, then if I want to do, that is 20 plus 30, which I'm expecting has 50. But when it is in the form of a string, 20 plus 30 means you will get 2030 as an answer. And this output is having a variation. This and this has some difference. What is the difference we have? The difference we have, this is expecting an addition operation. This is expecting an addition operation on integers. This is doing an addition. That addition is performed on strings, and it is doing has concatenation. Both the numbers are merged together, combined together. Okay, so it is not performing any arithmetic operation. Here it is performing, here I'm expecting an arithmetic operation. Okay, hope you are able to understand. So depending upon my output, you are supposed to write the program. So this is my output. I am expecting this output. If I am expecting this output, what is a statement? If I am expecting this type of output, what should be my statement? That I'm going to explain now. Okay, so now Here, because I'm expecting in this manner, that is I want 50 as an answer, means it has to do the arithmetic operation, that is an addition operation. But if I want to do an addition operation, then this should be converted into an integers. It should be converted into an integer form, but it is in a form of a string. Why it is accepted in a string form? Because my array is in a string. It is declared as an string type of an array. So now in order to convert my string data, in order to convert my string data into int, that is int is of which type? Primitive data type. It is a primitive data type. In order to convert this primitive data type, we are using as a wrapper classes. We are using a wrapper class, and that wrapper class is an integer as a wrapper class. Okay, and that wrapper class, that is integer, is a class. Under that class I'm using a method called as a parse int. This parse int, what it does, it is doing parsing, converting. What the conversion it is doing? The string data what you have sent as a 20 in a string, double quotes I have kept it here to differentiate. This string data is going to be converted into a normal primitive data type as an integer. Then you are supposed to use a statement called integer dot parseInt. So we are calling this method directly with a class name. Then it will be a static method, which is a static. That's why I'm calling with a class name. Okay, so without creating an object. So that is integer dot parseInt is the statement used for converting. It is a statement used for converting string data string data into primitive data. String data into primitive, that is in the form of int here. Okay, this is done. So which value you are converting? ARGS of 0. What is there in ARGS of 0? That is ARGS of 0 is containing 20. That 20 is going to be converted into, which is there in the string form, converts into a primitive data type, that is 20, and it is going to be stored in a variable, that is going to be stored in a variable 20, because int a variable a is of which type? Integer type. It is an integer type. It converts and stores into a. Similarly, it does the same thing that for the b also, the other value which is there, the 30, that is there in args of 1, that is going to be converted, which is in the string form, converted into an integer, and it is going to be stored in a variable called as b, which is a pure primitive data type. Okay, so now we are going to, now I have a values 20 and 30 converted form, which is of integer form. I can do an addition operation in order to get a 50 value. So that is a statement what we are going to write it here. That is system.out.println integer addition. That is a plus b, because my values are there in a and b. If I do addition operation upon a and b, you will get 50. And similarly here you can write, you can check the another statement here for the example to represent that. ARGS of 0 plus ARGS of 1. When I say ARGS, it is representing an string array, and this string array is containing 20 and 30. 20 and 30. When I say 20 and 30, because it is in a string type, so I will get 2030, and here my output will be 20 plus 30, I'll be getting 50. So this is how the conversions of the array, that is string data types, is converted into a primitive data type in order to use in our program. So how can you say this is a CLA example? Because I am using ARGS in my program. When you say ARGS in a program, when you use it, then it is called an example for CLA. And remember, when you are using a CLA, it will compulsory expect some values at the runtime, so you are supposed to pass the values at the runtime. If you are not passing the values at runtime, then it will show an error saying that array index out of bound exception. Okay, so this is related to CLA. So hope it is clear, students. So CLA example, so you can understand more and you can do some examples related to this, so it will be clear.